Hey there, friends. How's it going? I hope you are having the absolute best day. As you can see, it is a stunning August evening here in Ireland. The sun is out. Most Irish people are probably at the beach if they're not already working and trying to get those natural tan we can, creaming in the sunshine, making good use of it for the limited time, undoubtedly, that we have it this year. So we have come at long last to part six of this study on Joseph, the King of Dreams. So in the last episode, we left off with Joseph playing mind games on his brothers. He's running around under a false identity, Zaphanet Paneah, speaking Egyptian that they don't understand, and doing all these tricks on them and punishments to expose their hearts, to make sure that they were truly repentant. They had actually turned away from their evil deeds and that they were in a better place now after having initially intended on murdering him and having sold him into slavery and having faked his death. Now he can see, okay, you know what? They've changed, they've matured, they've grown, they've become holier. They're treating my younger brother with more respect than they ever treated me. And now it's time for the big reveal. So let's see what happens. Genesis 45. Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all his attendants, and he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." So basically, staff, get out of here. So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him. And Pharaoh's household heard about it. They thought, what is this? He's never behaved like this before. He's a wreck today. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" Well, you can imagine the disbelief his brothers had. They were like, so they were not able to answer him, and they were absolutely terrified in his presence. They thought, oh my goodness, think of the mind games he's played already. Now he's going to kill us. Stone dead. And Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, probably still trembling and terrified and afraid, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt." And Benjamin's probably standing there thinking, you told me he'd been eaten. And now, do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. Did God tell them to sell him as a slave? No. To throw him down a well? No. To murder him? No. But God in his sovereignty uses all things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, for the good of those who love him and are called according to his will. For 2 years now, there has been a famine in the land. Okay, so we don't know how long he was a servant or a slave in Potiphar's house, but he was in prison for about 2 years, or at least 2 years. You had the 7 years of plenty, and now we're 2 years into the famine. Okay, so it's been at least 11 years, maybe more. And in fact, we know that he was, I'm an English teacher, not a maths teacher, but we know, okay, that he was 17 as a teenager when the story began, and he was 30 when he became prime minister. So we're looking in around the 13, 14, 15 year range here. And then factor in the famine. It's been half a lifetime since I've seen him. It's been a long time. Some of you are probably just thinking, this guy cannot do basic arithmetic. That is true. Like I said, I'm an English teacher, not a maths teacher. I'm not ashamed. Verse 6. For 2 years now, there's been a terrible famine in the land. And for the next 5 years, there will not be plowing and reaping. Things have been bad, and they're going to get worse. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. God knew that something terrible was going to come, and he sent me here to be the solution in advance. So then it was not you who sent me here, but God. Wow, what a way of perceiving the situation. He has no anger towards them right now, no bitterness, no shame, no accusing finger. He's choosing to see the very best in them. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household and ruler of all Egypt. Now, hurry back to my father and say to him, this is what your son Joseph says. Could you imagine if they said that directly? Jacob would be like, huh? Are you messing? God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, don't delay. You shall live in the region of Goshen and be near me. You, your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and all you have. I will provide for you there, because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise, you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute. This will ruin you in terms of prosperity, livestock, finances. You can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, that it really is I who am speaking to you. Tell my father about all the honor accorded me in Egypt, and about everything you've seen. And bring my father down here quickly. Don't delay. Hurry up, come on. Where is he? Then he threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept. And Benjamin embraced him, weeping. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. Afterward his brothers talked with him. Now, several chapters ago, when he shared the dreams that God had given him, he saw that he would be lifted high and his brothers would bow before him. Joseph knew, undoubtedly, that his brothers didn't like him. After the dreams came along in the coat, they hated him, they loathed him, they despised him. The word of God came to a family that was dysfunctional, that was chaotic, that was disorderly, that was divisive. It was divided and increasingly becoming more and more divided. But the word was not only about elevation. God was speaking about this moment, that he would be lifted up, his brothers would bow down, he'd be positioned to help them, they would receive that help, and this, there would be a rekindling, a reconciliation, a restoration. The relationship, and here's the thing with God's restoration, the relationship is better than it had been in the past. He doesn't restore it to what it was, but beyond that. Verse 16. When the news reached Pharaoh's palace that Joseph's brothers had come, Pharaoh and all his officials were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers. Now look at this. This guy is supposed to be the king of Egypt and look after the Egyptians. I'm Irish. I'm like an Ireland first kind of guy. Americans are like America first, English, England first. I'm all for it. It just makes sense. This guy has just been so overcome by awe and amazement at how God is bringing this family back together again that he's going to pour out special favor on these people. And it's not corruption, it's not manipulation, it's not manipulating people, for votes. There's nothing sneaky about this, or snaky, or shady. This is just favor. When your heart just beats so powerfully for someone and you just can't help but love them and bless them. That's what this is. Do this. Load your animals and return to the land of Canaan, and bring your father and your families back to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you can enjoy the fat of the land. And you can enjoy the fat of the land. You're also directed to tell them, do this. Take some carts from Egypt for your children and your wives, and get your father and come. Never mind about your belongings, because the best of all Egypt will be yours. So the sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them carts, as Pharaoh had commanded, and he also gave them provisions for their journey. To each of them he gave new clothing, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels, that's 3.5 kilograms of silver, and 5 sets of clothes. And this is what he sent to his father: 10 donkeys loaded with the best things of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other provisions for his journey. Then, I love this, he sent his brothers away, and as they were leaving, he said to them, "Don't quarrel on the way. You used to be very confrontational and divisive. You've made big improvements. Don't go back." So they went up out of Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. Well, they told him everything about Joseph being Zaphanet Paneah, Prime Minister of Egypt, and he thought they were full of crap. He was stunned and didn't believe them. But when they told him everything Joseph had said to them, and he was like, "Oh, he's given us all this. Ding, 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 ding." Well, obviously he had to believe them at that point. "I'm convinced," he said. "My son Joseph is still alive, and I will go and see him before I die." In Genesis 46, verse 28, it says, "Now Jacob sent Judah ahead of him to Joseph to get directions to Goshen," because they didn't have Google Maps, When they arrived in the region of Goshen, Joseph had his chariot made ready, and he went to Goshen to meet his father Israel, or Jacob. As soon as Joseph appeared before him, he threw his arms around his father, and he wept for a long time. It had been a long time since he'd seen his dad. Israel said to Joseph, "Now I'm ready to die, since I've seen for myself that you are still alive." His heart's one desire was to see Joseph one last time. Now, they did see each other again, they did reconnect, but we're going to move on to Genesis 49:29 now. Then Jacob gave his sons these instructions: "I'm about to be gathered to my people, aka I'm about to croak, I'm about to die. Bury me with my fathers in the cave in the field of Ephron the Hittite, the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre in Canaan, which Abraham bought as a burial place from Ephron the Hittite along with the field." So basically, Hittite owned all this, Abraham bought it, and Abraham was buried there, his wife Sarah was buried there. Their son Isaac was buried there, his wife Rebecca was buried there. And now Jacob wanted to be buried with his parents and his grandparents. Verse 33. When Jacob had finished giving instructions to his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. And then Genesis 50:15. Death has some strange impacts on people. It brings out the best and the worst. Here it brings out terror from his brothers. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "What if Joseph still holds a grudge against us and pays us back for our sins and the wrongs we did to him? What if he never forgave us? What if actually he spent all this time hating us and plotting against us, wanting to put us in prison forever, wanting to make us slaves, wanting to kill us, but he was just being nice because Daddy was alive?" This is what crosses their minds. So they actually lie. They tell him, "Listen, Dad said you have to forgive us. Dad said you have to forgive us for everything wrong we've ever done." And when the message came to him, Joseph wept. He was like, How could you not believe my love was real? How could you not believe my forgiveness was authentic? Have you actually been sitting under this for years thinking this was all a lie? this was all a ruse, that I'm actually full of bitterness towards you, really, even now. Verse 18. His brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. "We are your slaves," they said. Such nonsense. Well, they were about to become slaves, but not to Joseph. But Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I'll provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. Joseph died in Egypt, along with all his father's family. He lived 110 years, and saw the third generation of Ephraim's children. Also the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were placed at birth on Joseph's knees. So he saw his children, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "I'm going to die, but God will surely come to your aid." So basically, trouble is coming, but God will help. If you want to see what that looks like, watch The Prince of Egypt. Or just read all of Exodus. "But God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of the land of Egypt, to the land he promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the promised land, the nation of Israel." And Joseph made the sons of Israel swear an oath and say, "God will surely come to your aid, and when he does, take my bones back to Israel. I want to be buried in my homeland. I want to be buried in the country that has the Lord's favour all over it, his hand on it." So Joseph died at the age of 110, and after they embalmed him, he was placed in a coffin in Egypt. So it's a beautiful story of family drama, family dynamics, a crazy family, a disturbed family, an evil family, but it just took the faith of one, obedience of one, the humility of one, and the entire trajectory of the nation of Egypt changed in those days. All the people were saved. He preserved his own nation. His enemies, his family, became his biggest supporters. He even saved them. And it's very similar to the life of Jesus. He was rejected by the ones he came to save, but he still did everything necessary to save them anyway. And as the Gentiles, as non-Jews, as national enemies, you might say, he died for us as well. And what happened to Jesus, like Joseph, it was awful, it was evil, it was undeserved, it was uncalled for. But God used it for the saving of many. He used it for good, because that is what God's resurrection power does. He makes hopeless things full of hope, barren things full of life. When something seems depressing, he makes it full of joy. When something was so wrong, he makes it right. When something was so ugly, you just can't take your eyes off it, what he did. And how beautiful he makes it. He makes all things beautiful in their time. Because he works all things together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So I hope that you have enjoyed this study of Joseph's life. I hope you've gleaned something from it. I hope you've learned something from it. That you can see yourself even in this story in a way that is powerful, potent, tangible, real, authentic. That you've learned things you can appropriate in your own life, in your own faith journey. Thank you for being on this journey with us through Joseph's life. The next character study, or book study, is going to be on 1 Samuel. And to be honest, we'll probably finish or roll into 2 Samuel, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, maybe the Psalms. We're going to look at the religious corruption under Eli and his sons, the evil monarchy that is the kingdom of Saul, and look at the second most talked about person in the whole Bible after Jesus, and that is David. David is a shepherd boy who becomes a king, and undoubtedly the most famous and celebrated king in world history. Someone around the world every second of the day is talking about David, let's be honest, or reading his his writings, talking about his life, learning from his life, gleaning from it, making decisions based on it. He's phenomenal. So Joseph is my favorite person in the Bible. David is my second favorite. And we're going to have some fun. It's going to be a good series. And we're going to look at some prophetic narratives as well in 1 Samuel, seeing how certain stories are replaying in our time and what it meant for people back in Bible times and what it means for us today. So thank you so much for being on this journey. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed the series, please give all of them a thumbs up. If you enjoyed the video, also please share and subscribe. Let's get the word of God out there to as many people as possible. You have the best day. Have a brilliant day. I'll catch you in the next one. God bless, friends.